Welcome to the HMG Executive Leadership Spotlight, where we showcase the best of the best global business technology executives, inspiring trust and winning in a global digital economy. In this episode, we feature Ken Spangler, FedEx Corporation's Executive Vice President IT and CIO for Global OpCo Technologies, and a 2023 nominee for the HMG Global Leadership Institute's Hall of Fame. And now, here's our host, Hunter Muller, founder and CEO of HMG Strategy.
Hello, and welcome to the HMG Spotlight. We're here with Ken Spangler from FedEx. Ken, you're the HMG Global Leadership Institute Hall of Fame nominee recipient. Thank you so much for being here today, and great to have you here.
Well, Hunter, thank you for having me. I'm honored and I'm humbled for the nomination, first of all, but it's always great to be with you, and this is an honor to be with you today.
So we're living in dynamic times, Ken. What do you see on a global level right now as it relates to business on a global level? And what are some key learnings that we should know about being a global leader and being successful?
Certainly, maybe one of the most important things today is when you look globally and you operate globally and you have teams globally is, there's a lot of different push and pull. The world, it's very rare that the world's all going in the same direction. Each region of the world sometimes has its own unique things and things change. But especially the last 2 to 3 years, it's been incredibly dynamic. And in each part of the world, there was certain things that may have been common. One of the things that became unfortunately very common is that the world was in a global pandemic, and there was a lot of effects of that. But since then, and even right now, it's just that there's continuous change. We talked about even a few minutes ago, the speed of change, it's continuous. And so that, number one thing I would say is there are things that happen in certain parts of the world. You have to be nimble. You have to be nimble everywhere. But I'll still answer your question by saying, the basics still matter. People and culture still matter the most, right? Operational excellence, no matter what you do, if you can't have the basics of operational excellence, you will struggle everywhere else. And on top of that, continuous improvement. And last is, the thing we've already the theme we've talked about is the world is in speed of change is great. You have to continue to transform and change with the world. And if you're great at leading, you will get ahead of it. But I think, the foundations will always matter and the foundations still matter. But to your point, you have to be comfortable with that.
Excellent, Ken. Always learn something when we're together. Hey, when you think about FedEx and the vision that Fred had years ago, your founder and former CEO, how did he look at technology? How do you look at technology as a true digital first company and a inventing new ways to go to market and accelerating that customer experience, making global connections real time?
Well, this is a question that always gets me excited because I've been blessed. You count your blessings in your career and in your life. And one of the great blessings is working at FedEx. Fred Smith was, from the very founding of FedEx, believed that technology was a differentiator and an enabler of the business. So, we often use a real quick anecdote here. We often use a story, and Fred has a very famous quote, said the information about the package is just as important as the package itself. And today everybody would say, well, yeah, no kidding. But he said it in 1978. So, how I would answer your question is, it's always been in our DNA. It's been core. Technology is important. Transforming the business is important. But at the heart of that is still, Fred started the company with a people service profit mindset of our culture. People are first. Great people doing great things, applying technology, et cetera, will provide the best service, world class, will be one of the great companies in the world. And when you provide that kind of service, you will profit and you will reinvest in people in the business. And so people service profit to FedEx has been a continuum. So I would say, there's so many things you talk about the legacy of, Fred and what he founded and what he started and what he still leads today as our chairman. But I would say the culture and his use and belief and acceleration of technology through decades is unique.
Great stuff. Hey, when you think of technologies that are changing the enterprise landscape, what are you most interested in right now, and what's on your radar screen that you can share with our audience today?
Well, I would say, I've been blessed. I've been in, more than 30 years of my career. And at every point of my career, I would say, wow, has the technology changed? Been excited. And I can actually say my life. I grew up in a technology household. My father worked for IBM for decades. But I said about 2 years ago, for the first time ever, to one of our new employee classes, I said, if I could pick a time to start my career over, this is the first time I would say I'd start it right now. And there's a lot of reasons why, but I would say, the hyperscale capabilities of today are enabling in more ways than we even know yet. But certainly every business is saying how important data is. It's just what data means to you. So I think, to what's really important is a collision of a few things. The hyperscale capabilities, the power of data, and to me, it's the power of real-time optimization. The fact that you can have mass scale, optimize in real time, and then apply that to automation and autonomy, that's what excites me. A lot of people look at data and they say, look at these new, control towers or, other kind of things we're creating that can be, used by humans. And don't get me wrong, that's important. But what's really important is when you take the scale of optimization and scale of data, it's not just about a control tower or some sort of reporting. It's about applying it to real-time automation or autonomy, that machine-to-machine scale with that level of optimization. And clearly there's a little bit of bias because at FedEx we do millions of packages every day all over the world. And so when you think of automation at massive scale, it's incredible to us. But I think that's important in all aspects of life and all aspects of business. So that's the thing. It's the collision of things that most excites me. And absolutely the hyperscale, the data capabilities and optimization capabilities, and applying it to automation and autonomy. That collision, I think, is just changing the world. And what we see in 5 years will be nothing like we even see today.
Awesome stuff. Hey, Ken, when you think of over your 3 decades at FedEx, an incredibly successful career, what were some key moments and steps that you went through and with Rob Carter and the others that you could say, wow, that was one of these defining moments, and I stepped through this growth area and it really made a difference over the three and a half decades?
Boy, that's one of those, Hunter, we could talk about for 1 hour, but I would say a couple big points in my career, but I'm gonna jump the first one early in my career. Very early in my career, I got lucky. I came out of a software development training program, got put into a group with a boss who was nothing short of brilliant. And what I learned is the difference between true software engineering and architecture versus just software development. So early in my career, I appreciated how much true engineering and architecture mattered, and that was a transformational part of my career right at the beginning. From there, I got second lucky part is I got to be involved in some of the most complex, hard things. And my love of working with really smart people who are trying to solve the greatest problems. Now, in the early days, it was things like automated package sortation to us. Decades ago, we were way ahead of our time, and we were pushing technology that wasn't ready for us yet. And so solving the hardest problems sometimes meant getting calls every night. But that was a lucky part of my career. It was really transformational because we made things happen that truly didn't exist yet. So we had to build our own way. I learned a lot from there. And then, as you get to, one of my heroes and somebody I've worked with for decades, Rob Carter, just a brilliant man, a really, I think transformational part of my career is even when I had responsibilities just in North America, and I was at one point the CIO of just the FedEx ground company, Rob always felt that it was important for me to spend a lot of time, globally, travel internationally, see our operations from Vietnam to anywhere, name the place, anywhere in Europe. And so I really got to learn a true global business. And I would say that probably what was important about that is the things I thought I knew, I really didn't know. And as I got to really learn a global business and appreciate how we have to operate differently around the world and appreciate what makes success in all parts of the world, that really transformed me as a leader. And, all due credit to Rob. That was Rob's vision. I was just a willing student and a lifelong learner. And that probably enabled me to the role I have today and such a big global role today.
Excellent. I love it. So that's on the business partner side. What about vendors, external vendors that are so critical to ensure you get your vision through on the technology platforms you're working on?
That's an incredibly important aspect too. And we even call our vendors, we call them business partners. We always call them partners. So you use the right terminology right out of the gate. What we look for is partners that are aggressive. That we always know we have to do more. We always knew we have to be more efficient. So number one is aggressive. Number two is leading edge, because what's possible today is great, but where we're going tomorrow, it takes time. You can't think of it on Monday and implement it on Friday. So we work with a lot of great partners that we're on advisory boards or whatever. We're talking about things that we know are going to be important. They might not be important for 3 to 5 years, but we know they're going to be important. The great partners we work with, that always shows up. It shows up in their products. It shows up in their support models, whatever it is. It always shows up. So we look for, partners that also say we and us. They look at us as a partner. We look at them as a partner, but they have to be aggressive. And the things we talk about and the things we say, they can't be words in the air. They have to turn into substance. Those are the best partners.
Hey, Ken, congratulations. Great interview, and congratulations on being a 2023 Global Leadership Institute Hall of Fame nominee. Thrills me to know when to be here with you today, and really appreciate our collaboration, your engagement at HMG Strategy. Again, thank you.
Well, thank you, Hunter. Again, I'm honored, and it's always great to be with you. And I've got to meet so many great people through your network and this network. I really appreciate it. So thank you, and I'm honored.
We hope you found this episode of HMG's Executive Leadership Spotlight beneficial. The HMG Global Network, a network of 400,000 technology leaders and a media platform that delivers more than 1 million impressions per week, is a valuable source of insight, continuous learning, and peer-to-peer research based on the insights and experiences of world-class, top-tier technology executives. Leverage the HMG network. Go to hmgstrategy.com to find out more.